Digital siege, heartland under fire. The digital frontier is no longer a distant realm, it's here, intertwined with our daily lives, and increasingly, it's under attack. Across the American heartland, a silent siege unfolds. Kansas and Missouri, once symbols of Midwestern tranquility, find their local governments battling an onslaught of cyber attacks. These aren't just glitches in the system, they are calculated strikes with real-world consequences. Imagine logging onto your city's website only to find it replaced with a ransom note, your personal data held hostage. Or worse, imagine 911 services going dark, emergency response crippled by an invisible enemy. This isn't the plot of a Hollywood thriller, it's the terrifying reality facing communities across these states. From small towns to bustling cities, no one is immune. The recent surge in cyber attacks targeting local governments is alarming. These attacks aren't random acts of mischief, they're sophisticated operations, often carried out by organized groups with sinister motives. They target the very systems we rely on, from public utilities to law enforcement databases. This isn't just about stolen data, it's about disrupting lives, sowing chaos, and eroding trust in the institutions we depend on. The digital battleground is complex and constantly evolving. Understanding the enemy and their tactics is paramount, but more importantly, it's about recognizing our collective vulnerability and taking action. The future of our communities, our digital lives may depend on it. Anatomy of a cyber siege. Decoding the attacks. Cyber attacks come in many forms, each designed to exploit vulnerabilities and achieve specific goals. Ransomware attacks, like the ones plaguing local governments in Kansas and Missouri, are particularly insidious. They hold data hostage, encrypting critical files and demanding payment for their release. Imagine a hospital unable to access patient records or a police department locked out of its crime database. The consequences can be devastating. Another common tactic is phishing. Hackers, disguised as trusted entities, send deceptive emails designed to trick individuals into revealing sensitive information. A seemingly harmless email from your bank could be a wolf in sheep's clothing, ready to steal your login credentials. Once inside, they can wreak havoc, accessing financial data, impersonating individuals, or launching further attacks. Denial of service attacks, or DDoS attacks, are like digital traffic jams. Hackers flood a network with traffic, overwhelming its resources and making it inaccessible to legitimate users. Imagine trying to access your city's website to pay a parking ticket, only to find it completely offline. These attacks can disrupt essential services, causing frustration, financial losses, and even putting lives at risk. But why target local governments? The answer is simple: vulnerability and impact. Local governments often lack the resources and sophisticated security measures of larger institutions, yet they hold a treasure trove of valuable data, personal information, financial records, infrastructure blueprints. A successful attack can cripple a community, disrupting essential services and eroding public trust. Collateral damage. Life in the crosshairs. The consequences of these cyber attacks extend far beyond the digital realm. They ripple through communities, disrupting daily life and shaking the very foundations of our digital society. When a local government falls victim to ransomware, it's not just data that's held hostage, it's the ability to function. Building permits go unprocessed, police reports remain unfiled, and public services grind to a halt. The impact on individuals is equally profound. Stolen identities, drained bank accounts, and compromised medical records are just a few of the devastating consequences. Imagine the distress of having your personal information plastered across the dark web, your digital life up for sale to the highest bidder. The emotional toll can be as damaging as the financial one. But the true cost of these attacks is often immeasurable. They erode trust in our institutions, fuel fear and uncertainty, and undermine our sense of security. When even the government can't protect itself, who can? This loss of faith can have long-lasting consequences, making it harder to address future challenges and eroding the social fabric that binds us together. The digital world is no longer a separate entity, it's deeply embedded in our lives. An attack on our digital infrastructure is an attack on our way of life. Understanding the human cost of these attacks is not just about quantifying losses, it's about recognizing the very real fear and vulnerability they create. Why us? To combat this growing threat, we need to understand the motivations behind it. Why are hackers targeting local governments, and what do they hope to achieve? Cybersecurity experts point to several key factors that make these entities prime targets. Firstly, as mentioned earlier, local governments often lack the robust cybersecurity infrastructure of their larger counterparts, making them easier prey for attackers. Secondly, the potential payoff is significant. Local governments hold a wealth of valuable data, from personal information to financial records. This data can be sold on the dark web, used for identity theft, or even held for ransom. The potential for financial gain is a powerful motivator for cybercriminals. Thirdly, successful attacks on local governments can have a disproportionate impact. They can disrupt essential services, sow chaos, and erode public trust. This can have far-reaching consequences, not just for the targeted community, but for society as a whole. The chaos and disruption caused by these attacks serve as a stark reminder of our dependence on digital infrastructure. Local governments are often seen as soft targets, explains Sarah Jones, a cybersecurity expert and former government advisor. They have limited resources and are often playing catch-up when it comes to cybersecurity. This makes them vulnerable to attacks from sophisticated cybercriminal organizations. The increasing sophistication and organization of these attacks are particularly concerning. Building fortresses, strategies for a secure future. While the threat is real and constantly evolving, it's not insurmountable. There are concrete steps local governments can take to bolster their defenses and mitigate the risk of cyber attacks. The first line of defense is awareness. Educating government employees about cybersecurity best practices, such as recognizing phishing scams and using strong passwords, is crucial. Human error remains one of the weakest links in any security system. Investing in robust cybersecurity infrastructure is equally important. This includes firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and data encryption software. Local governments need to prioritize cybersecurity spending and allocate resources effectively to ensure their systems are adequately protected. This may require collaboration with state and federal agencies to access the necessary expertise and resources. Regular security audits and penetration testing can help identify vulnerabilities and test the effectiveness of existing security measures. These audits should be conducted by independent third-party experts to ensure objectivity and identify any potential blind spots. The goal is to proactively identify and address weaknesses before they can be exploited by attackers. Collaboration is key. Sharing information about threats, best practices, and incident response strategies can help local governments stay ahead of the curve. This includes participating in information-sharing platforms and working with cybersecurity experts to develop comprehensive security plans. The fight against cybercrime requires a collective effort. The new normal, a call to action. The cyber attacks on Kansas and Missouri serve as a stark reminder that the digital frontier is now our shared reality. We can no longer afford to view cybersecurity as an afterthought or a problem for someone else to solve. The threat is real, it's evolving, and it affects us all. Protecting our digital infrastructure is no longer just about safeguarding data, it's about safeguarding our way of life. This requires a fundamental shift in mindset, a recognition that cybersecurity is not just the responsibility of IT departments, but a shared responsibility that demands vigilance and proactive action from individuals, organizations, and governments at all levels. We must embrace a culture of cybersecurity awareness, where best practices are ingrained in our daily routines, and vigilance is the norm. Local governments, often on the front lines of this digital battle, need our support. They need the resources to invest in robust cybersecurity infrastructure, the expertise to navigate the complex world of cyber threats, and the collaboration of state and federal agencies to share information and coordinate responses. Our collective security depends on it. The digital world, for all its advantages, has ushered in a new era of vulnerability, but it's also an era of unprecedented opportunity. By embracing a proactive, collaborative approach to cybersecurity, we can build a safer, more resilient digital future for ourselves and for generations to come. The time to act is now.